We are back with episode 18 of Not Another Moto Pod, hosted by Sam Fury. This week we're recapping round 16 of the 2025 Supercross season from Denver. Another week of exciting racing, including crowning a champion in the 250 class and some drama along with it, of course, with the Deegan name, as well as another exciting 450 race going into the final round next week in Salt Lake. So let's jump right into it. Starting, of course, with the 250 class. As I mentioned off the top, Deegan finally finishes off this championship, wins his third race of the year, his eighth consecutive podium. Looking back at it, we knew he's been consistent this year, but I guess I really didn't put the numbers together. They talked about it on the broadcast. The only race all year that he's finished off the podium was actually the Anaheim 1 opener, where he got fifth. So he's been top five all 9 races this season. So incredibly consistent, something new we've seen from Deegan here. So great ride from him. Started in third, really tracked down Cole Davies throughout the course of the race. Obviously made the what has now become a controversial pass. I don't think it was a terrible pass, honestly. Obviously doing it on a teammate and a friend, as Cole Davies is, maybe, ruffle some feathers there. Maybe not ruffled as many feathers as his interview after the fact, but Deeks is going to Deeks. But at the end of the day, he got it done. He was the best guy tonight. Cole Davies had kind of run away with some things, but Deeks made an awesome push from behind to get there. So obviously proved that he was the fastest guy out there. He kind of wanted to make a statement, and he did that. So good for him. Finally wrapped up the Supercross champion. Now at, I believe, 19 years old, he's now wrapped up 2 SMX championships, an outdoor championship, and a Supercross championship. Just awesome to see from Deegan. So really excited to see what we see outdoors from Deeks coming up. Second place on the night, Juju Beaumer. Juju actually rode incredible on the night. Probably the second or third best ride, maybe outside of Deegan and Cole Davies there. Juju had a terrible start. He started around 10th and just raced his way forward. He made some really quick passes and just really kind of looked like he could have been in the battle for the win had he had a better start on the night. So Juju looks back to form. Really excited to see what we get next week from him, and excited to see if he can get back to starting up front like we are used to seeing from Juju. I think he's got some speed. I think he's maybe had found something, heading back to the West Coast. So really exciting there from Juju after a terrible Philadelphia race last time we saw these guys. So good for Juju to get second place there. Third place, Garrett Marchbanks. Marchbanks, similar to Juju, didn't make the passes as quickly and didn't move to the front as fast, but he was in the same boat. He started around 10th and kind of slowly, methodically made his way up to third. So really good riding by Garrett Marchbanks in these last few weeks. I believe that's 2 podiums in a row and 3 out of his last 4 races. So solid riding by G. Fourth place, Jordan Smith. Truthfully, didn't see much of Jordan. Terrible heat race. Went down early. Had to fight and claw his way back to ninth in the heat race. I think he started from behind as well. He actually may have been further back than these other guys and just kind of moved forward as some other people fell behind. Jordan was solid in the main event, so a good fourth for him. But again, didn't see much of him, on the night with so much action going on. Fifth place, Cole Davies. Man, that one had to hurt. Going into the night, we knew that if Cole finished 5th or worse, Deegan could win the championship by winning the race. Davies had a complete handle on the race, got a whole shot, led the entirety of the race, really. Unfortunately, him and Deegan crossed the finish line as time was expiring, which meant there was 2 laps left. I guess it really didn't matter at the end of the day because Deegan made a pretty hasty pass on him shortly after. And after falling over the berm and getting kind of stuck on his bike in a tough block, that's what really screwed him up here. He really got pushed back to 5th place, unfortunately. I think if he had not gotten caught on the tough block, he probably could have gotten back up into 3rd or so. That's what really, some of these takes online that I see about the Deegan pass. Again, it was not a terrible pass. I don't think it was incredibly aggressive at all. Cole Davies did leave the door open for him. It's just unfortunate to see that kind of, these guys have been cordial and have been friends, it seemed this way, and Deegan just kind of no holds barred. But people are saying that pass was for the championship when that's frankly not true. Had all, again, gone correctly, Cole Davies probably finishes 3rd at worst. He just unfortunately got caught on the tough block there. Obviously, any point for Deegan was going to help him going into next week, so no big deal. It is what it is, but Davies got to be frustrated. You could see it after the race. throwing down his goggles, just incredibly frustrated. We saw a lot of the 450 guys come over to him and kind of console him. And then he had a great podium interview. I think he's going to be fired up next week. I think I would bet the house on Cole Davies winning next week's showdown, regardless of the championship hunt in the 250 East class. I think Cole Davies is going to come try to make a statement ride next week the way that Deegan did this week. Honestly, I think that would really do a lot for him going forward. To finish the season tied with Deegan at 3 wins on the year would be great. Currently, he's got 2. He is 25 points down. Obviously, Deegan would have to get last or no points, for them to technically tie on points. Deegan did have the tiebreaker, which is why he does finish with the championship, despite only being 1 race length ahead, however. But again, I think Cole Davies comes out next week and probably tries to go and put a stamp on this thing. I'd be really interested to see what happens next week. I don't think he's going to do anything dirty, to Deegan. Obviously, if I'm Deegan, I'm not showing up next week. I'm taking a week off or prepping for outdoors with nothing to gain and only things to lose next week. But we'll know he'll be there, of course. 6th place, Cody Schock. I thought Cody Schock rode well. I'm a huge fan of Cody Schock. 3rd place in the heat race. He, unfortunately, he kind of went backwards for a while. He started in 3rd or 4th, and he went back as far as 8th. But he did get back into 6th place. Obviously, got passed by Juju Garrett, Jordan Smith. But a solid ride, of course, from Cody Schock. One other thing I want to touch on with Cole Davies, actually, they put up a stat. He has finished 1st or 2nd in all 9 heat races this year. For that in his rookie year is just unbelievable. Speaking back on heat races, that's something that really stood out to me. But back to Cody in 6th place. Like I said, 3rd place, he rode well all night. Him and Deegan gave a fist bump on the starting line. That was odd. Didn't know there was any really any love between these two. That was something that stood out to me on the night, and I just thought was odd. So 7th place, Michael Mosman. Mosman actually rode really well all night. Speaking of heat races, he got 2nd place to Cole Davies in the heat race. Kind of put pressure on him all day. He was riding around in 2nd for a while. He looked really good, and then Juju unfortunately got by him. I don't know if they made contact or if Mosey just slipped out at the same time, but he did go down and fall back to 7th place. But a solid ride nonetheless from Mosman. 8th place, Drew Adams. Good ride for Drew Adams. His first race back since injury. I think this is only his 2nd pro race of his career, actually, because he got hurt. I believe was his 2nd race qualifying that he got hurt. So another 8th. He did finish 8th in that first race of the year. So solid for Drew Adams here. 9th place, Joe Shimoda. Terrible ride from Joe Shimoda. I can only imagine this had to do with a lack of fitness in the elevation. We know Joe had taken some time off to let his finger heal. And maybe if he hasn't been riding, as much as the other guys and going in his elevation, that may have gotten to him, because he was riding in 3rd or 4th early for a while. And then he just went backwards one by one until he ended up in 9th place. The last of the factory guys. So really unfortunate to see Joe fall back tonight. But again, it had to be elevation related if I had to guess, because he was just getting picked off by each one of these guys. 10th place, Enzo Lopes. Solid from Enzo Lopes. He finished 2nd in his heat race. He actually looked pretty good on the night. I think Enzo Lopes was the last guy they didn't lap on the night. So good ride by Enzo to get 10th place there. Again, he's not on these, a factory bike like the rest of these guys. Cody Schock maybe is the only guy that he could have been up there with, but Cody's been riding well all year. So a solid ride by Enzo to finish 10th. Didn't see much of many of these guys, again, with so much going on at the front of the pack, going from 11 down. So 11th place, Cole Thompson. 12th place, Dylan Walsh. 13th, Avery Long. Solid return for Avery Long. 14th, Gavin Towers. I believe Gavin Towers had a top 10 a couple weeks ago. So, maybe not where he wants to be after peaking over in the top 10. But, he's getting better and better. We saw a lot of 19th and 20th from him early in the year. 15th, Robbie Wageman. I believe this is Wageman's first race of the year. That's solid to go 15 there. 16th, Parker Ross. Ross has been pretty good on the season. I look forward to seeing maybe what he has outdoors. I think Parker Ross can be a name to watch out for in these next few years. 17th, Hunter Yoder. Yoder can't be happy with the 17th. I'm not sure if he fell or what. He's been a staple in this 10 through 13 range lately in this class, so I'm not sure what happened here. 18th, Brad West. 19th, Derek Kelly. 20th, Lux Turner. Didn't see these guys on the night at all, truthfully. 21st, CJ Bernard, his first pro main event. Good ride there for him. Got in through the LCQ. Finished second to Lux Turner there, his teammate. And 22nd, Max Sanford. Good ride for Max to get into the main event there. Again, Deegan the champion in this class. Really interested to see what happens next week going into the East-West Showdown finale at Salt Lake City. Again, slightly at elevation. We saw this week that all the Yamahas were up front early. We'll see what happens next week. I said on last week's pod that I really could see Nate Thrasher coming out and winning this thing with the way he's been riding lately. I do think I could see maybe three guys that are not in the title hunt up front. I think Cole Davies at this point looks like the most complete package. I could see Cole Davies going out winning this thing. I could see Thrasher going out winning this thing. Deegan obviously always a threat. We'll see what he gives next week. If I was him, I'd be riding, out there very chill riding. But we know he's going to kind of want to come prove a point and prove that he can win one of these showdowns as well. Not having won one yet this year. Juju's riding well. And then obviously we have the three guys in the title hunt with Vial, Hamaker, and RJ Hampshire. Those guys are going to want to minimize mistakes and maximize points. So we'll see what happens next week. It should be a really interesting showdown, and I'm looking forward to it. Moving over to the 450 class, Chase Sexton got it done. What do you know? It's been almost a foregone conclusion. All week through the media, maybe all month, we've talked about looking forward to Denver and how good Chase was going to be here. Chase ran away with it. He made a great pass on Webb pretty early in the race. Semi-aggressive for Chase Sexton, but we learned after the fact that he was a little upset with Webb cross-jumping him a bit early, so he said he was seeing red. Obviously did not hit Webb enough to take him down, was not his intent. Just kind of wanted to, let him know he was there. And let him know that this thing wasn't over, despite what the math may say. Chase Sexton, again, just the fastest guy on the night. We expect this. I expect the same thing next week. Honestly, I would expect a repeat of this for Chase Sexton to just go out there and win the thing and let the cards fall where they may. That's kind of who he is as a rider. A really, really good ride again by him. His 15th career 450 win. Just a really great night for Chase Sexton. Second place, Cooper Webb. Really, honestly, an unbelievable ride by Webb. After hearing him on the podium and hearing how sick he sounds, he had to be giving it his all out there. I'm really curious to see what would have happened had he not gotten the whole shot. It might have been a rough night for him trying to fight through the pack with the way that he was probably feeling. Obviously, he's not 100%. Obviously, has some kind of illness this week, so would have been really interesting and maybe could have made the points really interesting. So really, really something to watch, to see how he heals up going into next week. Obviously has a 9-point lead on Chase Sexton, would have to fall back, would have to finish somewhere around 10th. I haven't done the math yet, but would have to, have his worst race of the year by far to not win this title. If Sexton wins next week, but, anything could happen. Obviously Cooper Webb and Chase Sexton are the class of the field. Third place, Jay Coop. This was the best ride of Jay Coop's 450 career, bar none, by far, 100%. He would have passed Cooper Webb if he had been able to. If they were not teammates, if the math told him that he was allowed to do so. Jay Coop was that fast. He was going to fly by Webb. The speed that he was carrying through the right-hander before the final rhythm where he passed Mookie was just unbelievable. He found a good ride in the whoops. Jay Coop started like 9th or 10th, and earlier in the year he would have finished 9th or 10th. It was one of my biggest gripes all year, around 4th or 5th round, I believe. I think it was around Tampa. He kind of found his groove and has been moving his way forward since, but this was by far his best ride. He made pass after pass. Got Mookie late, was really putting the pressure on Webb. Again, obviously was not going to make that pass, but he was doing just enough to hold off Mookie. Obviously, played great defense on Mookie and kind of set the pick for Cooper Webb to go get second here. So just an unbelievable ride by Jay Coop. This may be an underrated ride. Looking forward, if anybody gives Sexton anything next week, I would imagine it would be Jay Coop. I don't think he's going to get it. I think Sexton is going to run away with this thing, but maybe if Jay Coop gets a whole shot, he could go out and win or something. But like I said, these guys are going to be the players. This is a third podium for Jay Coop, second in a row. So I really look for this to maybe be a repeat podium next week with Sexton, Webb, and Jay Coop again. In that order, obviously last week we had the same podium, but Webb winning and Sexton getting second there. Fourth place, Malcolm Stewart. Malcolm had a good ride. He did have the whole shot and faded back a bit, but I mean, he got passed by, Cooper Webb, Chase Sexton, and Justin Cooper. He's no slouch. He has proven himself as the fifth or sixth best guy. Obviously, we've had Chase, Cooper, Jay Coop, and AP have kind of solidified themselves as the top four recently. Mookie's been around fifth or sixth every week, so solid for him to get ahead of AP this week and get that fourth spot. Fifth place, we did have Aaron Plessinger. Not a good start for him. He did come from behind, so good for him to get into fifth place, but just didn't have it tonight. Getting late in the season, not much for him to fight for at this point. Has probably moved his mind to outdoors, truthfully. Sixth place, Shane McElrath. Shane has a podium this year. It was in the mud, but this was Shane's best ride of the year. Obviously, with the podium being under different circumstances, Shane has pretty regularly gone backwards this year. Last week we saw him fight his way forward, and I thought something may have turned for him. And this week, the only people who passed him were Jay Coop and AP, who again I've said have solidified themselves in that top four. So this is a really good ride for Shane McElrath to prove that he belongs here. That sixth place to follow up last week's eighth. A really, really, really good ride for Shane McElrath. Seventh place again, Dylan Ferrandis. I believe this is the second or third week in a row he's been around seventh. Good ride for Dylan. Eighth, Joey Savacci. We saw Joey Savacci kind of fighting with this Dean Wilson, Christian Craig, Justin Hill battle. Obviously made his way through and proved to be the best. Had to fight his way in through the LCQ as well. So good to get eighth for Joey Savacci there. I believe this is his second or third top 10 in the last couple weeks. So good ride by him. Ninth place, Mitchell Oldenburg. Truthfully, didn't see much a freckle on the night. 10th place, Dean Wilson. I mentioned this battle between Joey, Dean, Christian, and Justin Hill was just a battle. So really cool to see Dean get his third top 10 of the year in only his fourth race. So really solid riding by Dean aboard that, the factory HRC. 11th place, Christian Craig, his best result of the year, thankfully. We know now that he will not be riding outdoors this year unless maybe as a fill-in for injury. So next week may be his last week, for the rest of the year. So really solid for him to get up into 11th. Look to see him hopefully break that top 10 next week. 12th place, Justin Hill. Hill's kind of losing it. He's been in this 10 through 14 range recently. Obviously, we saw him earlier in the year up inside the top 5. So not sure what's going on with Hill, truthfully. He's consistently been in this 10 through 14, but we know he's faster than that. We just kind of surprised that we haven't seen any more flashes that we saw early in the year. 13th, Benny Bloss. Bloss was third early off the start. Not really sure what happened, truthfully. Fell back to 13th. Has had a lot of bike issues this year. Not so great finishes. So not sure if it was a crash, a bike issue, or if he just kind of went backwards on his own. 14th, Colt Nichols. Colt's going to be upset with that 14th after going 12 last week. He said in an interview not too long ago that he felt like he was getting 13. Now he's got a 12 and a 14 under his belt. So I'm sure Colt won't be happy with that 14th place. 15th, Freddie Noren, solid ride by Freddie. 16th, Chiz, right where he's been for the entire season. We know this is Chiz's last full season, but he just continues to prove that he is. He's the old guy, but he's the vet. He's the old trusty vet out there. Finishing 16th almost every week, it seems like. 17th, we had the Pulp MX LCQ Challenge winner, Kevin Morans. So solid ride by Morans. He's been in more main events than not this year, I believe. But he's ridden really well. I know I said this a lot early in the year, but he just had a really rough season last year and really has turned things around going into this season. So really good to see that for Kevin Morans. 18th, Cade Clayson. 19th, Tristan Lane. 20th, Jeremy Hand. 21st, Justin Starling. And 22nd, Michael Hicks. I believe this is Michael Hicks's first 450 main event of the year. Obviously got last place, an arena cross guy in the elevation. Trying to run 10 minutes was probably not a recipe for success there, but good ride by Michael Hicks to find his way into the main event. Looking at the points, again, Cooper Webb has a 9-point lead on Chase Sexton going into the finale next week. Would have to have something really crazy happen, but I mean, who knows? Again, I really look and expect Chase Sexton to go out and win this thing next week and just kind of, let everything behind him happen. Hopefully something lucky happens on his end. If not, we will see Cooper Webb more than likely win his third Supercross championship in the 450 class, which would put him in rare air. Only 6 other riders at this point have had 3 championships. Just kind of unbelievable to look back maybe 8-10 years ago and say that Cooper Webb was going to be a 3-time champion with 30 wins in this class. Prior to him ever getting his first win would just be kind of unbelievable, especially after watching his first few years aboard the Star Yamaha. Obviously, switching over to KTM kind of changed the course of his career there. So just really cool to see what Cooper Webb has made of himself in this 450 class. That is all we have for this week. As always, if you want to follow us on X, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube at Not Another Moto Pod, that would be super helpful. Thanks for listening.